Dave Campbell's Texas Football Instant Reactions presented by Chicken Express. I'm Ishmael Johnson. That's Matt Stepp. Matt, it's a day of firsts.
Yeah.
We just crowned Reggie Samples' first state title, Duncanville 28, North Shore 21 in the 6A D1 championship. The fourth meeting between them, and it was the one that had to go the other way.
Yeah.
If you believe narrative, if you believe in storybook endings. We already had a first with Claude Mathis's first, the third black coach crowned at this week's state championship. History with that as well. I mean, let's stick with the game first. I mean, when the first game I felt like is obviously overshadowed by the Hail Mary.
For sure.
But that one, for most of the game, was a heavyweight fight, right?
Yes.
Haymakers back and forth. Second, third game kind of get lost. There weren't really those key moments, right?
Yeah.
This one felt like another rehash of that first one, where you just saw 5 stars, 4 stars, future college stars just going blow for blow, right? We see Colin Simmons from Duncanville absolutely standing out. We see David Amador from North Shore trying to put together that makeshift offense that they've had to basically design on the run this season. What were your thoughts and standouts from this game?
So I think for me what stood out to me most, especially the second half, was Duncanville's defense.
Yeah.
Up until the last drive for North Shore, Duncanville had held North Shore to -7 yards, 0 first downs.
Yeah.
And you know, Amador nearly willed them to a game tying or potentially game-winning touchdown if they go for 2 there. And I thought, you know, the fourth down call was inches. You know, it's inches, and Duncanville's defense made a play, stopped Amador short. He was clearly short of the first down. It was the right call by the refs. He was short, and Duncanville, on the strength of their defense, gets the state title. You know, offensively for them, it was a grind. You know, they hit a couple of big plays in the first half. The second half, they really had to grind it out. Caden Durham is known kind of as a big play, speed back.
Sure.
I think he showed his toughness today. He got some dirty yards, grinded it out, was able to get tough yards, and helped Duncanville get that state championship. His touchdown run in the I think it was in the fourth quarter, early fourth, is what gave Duncanville the winning margin. It was just a heavyweight fight. The two best teams in Texas going at it. We saw this game was played at a different pace than any other game we saw today.
Yeah, from the moment these two had their first couple drives, you could tell, okay, it always feels, I don't know, sometimes the 6A games don't always feel like that next step up from 5A, from 4A, things like that. It definitely felt like the weekend built up to this.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Duncanville goes up 14-0, right? Part of me was wondering if we were going to get another blowout, right? Maybe it was just Duncanville's year that way. But David Amador, like you mentioned, this offense that, again, they've had to remake a little bit, right? He started at QB, which wasn't a guarantee. I think it was the right move because I think Duncanville posed a lot of threats. We saw him kind of have to roll out a ton to get out of the pocket, and he made a lot of smart decisions in terms of just tucking it and running it. That one touchdown was basically him willing himself down the field.
him just being great.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a great player,
Yeah, and so towards the end, we kind of wondered, is Duncanville gonna give this back up? Because we saw 2 face mask penalties. We saw David Amador. It was basically if either Colin Simmons got home or David Amador had 10 yards to run.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you were like, they were setting that up, and then finally, like you mentioned, the 4th and 5. I think it was a great call by John Kay. That zone power run.
They were gonna go with what was their best play.
Right.
That worked for them all year, and that play has worked for them all year.
A yard, less than a yard short. Duncanville obviously came out big. I do want to give a shout out to Keelan Russell as well at quarterback. He played. He was his sophomore.
The 88-yard touchdown run. And, you know, I've seen 2 or 3 Duncanville games online this year. I haven't watched him in person.
Yeah.
He hasn't pulled that on that read ever at all, and he pulled it and he made one move and was gone. And I thought Duncanville's offense, you could see Todd Peterman, the offensive coordinator's impact in the offense. Duncanville was pushing the ball downfield.
I was about to say they had more vertical threats.
They mixed in some throwbacks. They were a lot more diverse and dynamic offensively, and I think that helped them because North Shore couldn't just key in the box and slow the run down.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it felt like a chess match in some ways, right? We were seeing John Kay's adjustments. We were seeing the defensive adjustments on Duncanville and Reggie Samples' staff. And yeah, eventually they had to win one of these, and it felt like the right type of game to win, right? It was the Reggie Samples style of game, and they didn't get out of their game. But you mentioned Todd Peterman throwing in some vertical threat here and there, but they won it with defense, with the run game, with the way Reggie Samples likes to play.
Samples loves it, yeah.
Exactly.
It's his kind of game, and I don't know. It almost wouldn't have felt right if Duncanville would have blown them out.
Right, no, 100%.
One of these games against North Shore, just to kind of prove that they can get into this street fight and they're tough and they can win these kind of games. And there's a lot of juniors and sophomores on both of these teams. Obviously, North Shore's quarterback Caleb Bailey's out. He'll be back next year.
Round 5.
I mean, I I'd sign up for round 5. Sign me up for round 5
Look,
right now.
I'm going to be completely honest. I was not looking forward to this game as much as other people were.
Yeah.
I was like, we've seen this before.
You were slandering it on Twitter.
I was like, we've seen this before. Like, I'm not even saying like North Shore's going to win. I picked North Shore to win, full disclosure, but that's not why I wasn't looking forward to this game. I was like, we've seen everything. We've seen the Hail Marys. We've seen the backup quarterbacks kind of go at it, right? We've seen like things like, and I was like, I just don't want to see it again. I want to see new blood like we saw in 6A D2. I'm changed my mind. Give me round 5. Give me round 5. If we get more like that, give me round 5. Keelan Russell versus Caleb Bailey next year, right? Definitely, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, go ahead.
It's an awesome way to close out the season.
100%, man.
You never want to close the season out with a bad football game.
Right.
We closed it out with a great football game. I mean, you kind of end the off season on a good note. That's the best. Last year, we crowned Westlake. It was kind of a
coronation for Todd Dodge, right? It was like his last game or whatever.
We were all standing up on the bottom row at the end of that game. We were into it. It was a great ball game.
That's how you went in this season. So, with the last thing, let's talk a little bit about Reggie Samples, right?
Sure.
We mentioned Claude Mathis's win, big moment for him. Reggie Samples, I mean, more or less the godfather of the modern black head coach in Texas high school football. I mean, Jason Todd obviously won yesterday, a disciple of Reggie Samples. You see his influence and basically all over DFW coaching. For him to get this title after being snake bit so many times, what does it mean for his legacy? It should have already been cemented, but it is nice. It is nice to have that official validity.
It's
now.
Almost like the great player in the NFL who never wins the Super Bowl.
Right.
Dan Marino, for instance. Right. He's a great player, but he never got the ring. Right?
It keeps him from that GOAT status, right?
And I think this puts Coach Samples into that status. He's got 300 wins. He's done everything he can do as a high school football coach. 300 wins. He's won a state title now, and I think it's just that last little bullet point to check on the resume where now, I think if I'm not saying he's going to walk away,
right?
When he decides to walk away, I don't think he'd be walking away with something left unfulfilled. I think he's fulfilled his legacy at this point.
Right, I think so too. All right, well, like Steph said, that's all we got for y'all this year. We're not back tomorrow. We're back whenever we get back to you. Thank you guys so much for following us this season. It's been fun. You guys are the reason why we can push through these marathon days to get through this. Special thanks to Trevor Bullard, who's editing these all week. He just probably touched the camera right now, so you probably saw it shake a little bit. I'm messing with you. Regardless, though, TexasFootball.com. Everything from this weekend's all there. DCTF on Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. Please take all the content in. All the state champs. Shout out all of y'all. All the state finalists. Congrats on a great season regardless. All the fans out there, thank you so much. Once again, Ishmael Johnson, Matt Stepp, signing off from another season. We'll be back whenever we'll be back.